Meanwhile, while all of that is going on around Australia, further east, we've also got a cyclone developing here as well. Now, this one appears to be running its way towards the southeast, so hopefully we'll avoid Fiji. Here, it's still going to be very, very wet and pretty windy over the next few days, but hopefully we won't see the eye of that storm hit any of the islands. A little bit further north and for us in China, it's rather wet at the moment and not that warm for Hong Kong either, only getting to 17 degrees.
"14 competing teams, 13 different venues, 3 host nations. Cricket is part of the fabric of life here, and this competition is the pinnacle of the one-day game. We'll be bringing you all the action and reaction from India, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. The Cricket World Cup on Al Jazeera.
The times change. The instruments evolve. The battlegrounds shift.
This is America! Our country!
But the international struggle continues.
He was murdered!
Uncompromising, hard-hitting investigations.
I can't get no justice from no one in Jamaica.
People and power, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Protesters moved to Bahrain's main hospital after a heavy police crackdown leads to more bloodshed. Soldiers are said to have shot live ammunition at the crowds in Manama. Now the Crown Prince is calling for dialogue. Hello, I'm Barbara Serra. You're watching Al Jazeera live from London. We'll have the very latest on the unrest that's sweeping the Middle East, including Libya set alight. Anti-government protests defy a police crackdown, but the death toll continues to rise. Fireworks and festivals fill Egypt's Liberation Square 1 week after the uprising that toppled Hosni Mubarak.
We therefore, regrettably, have opposed this draft resolution.
We're going to be live at the UN, where the United States has vetoed a resolution condemning Israeli settlements as illegal. Hello there, welcome to the program. Violence continues to hold a deadly grip on Bahrain as protesters refuse to yield to the threat of the gun and tear gas. Now it appears the king has blinked first, calling for all-party talks to resolve the crisis. Well, these are some of the latest pictures from the capital, Manama. Hundreds gathered outside Sulmania Hospital, where many of the wounded protesters were treated. Well, many protesters are still there. Meanwhile, one doctor at the Salmania Hospital in Manama told Al Jazeera that the scene was, quote, like a war zone with an uncountable number of casualties.
We are calling for help for all the countries in the world. We call for help here in Bahrain. We cannot tolerate this. We cannot bear this. The hospital is full of casualties. All the medical staff are running all over the place. There are victims thrown in the roads. Nobody can free them. Nobody can bring them to the hospital. It's a chaos here in the hospital. That's the way I describe it. We call for an urgent call for everybody in the world. United States, European Union, all the Arab leagues, all the Arab countries. Please do come here to help us. We are an innocent people. They haven't done anything. They have just demonstrated peacefully. They were on their way to the hospital and they were shot dead. We have a lot of deaths here. I cannot describe the situation. It's awful. It's awful. That's the way we can describe it. It's chaos. The hospital is full of casualties. All the medical staff are running on their feet. It's quite difficult to accommodate all of these casualties. The hospital is nearly full. We've taken a lot of patients to the theater. We took patients to the ICU. The accident emergency is full of casualties. It is unbelievable scene, undescribable. It's very difficult to count the number of casualties. We can't even identify them because they don't even hold their IDs. They were thrown on the roads. There are tens, if not hundreds of people are just still on the road. The ambulance cannot reach them. They were stopped by the police guard. They can't access them. It is very hard to describe the situation. It is really, really hard. It's unbelievable, as if we are in a war. These people are innocent. They don't hold machine guns. They don't hold swords, as the government has said. These are just innocent demonstrators. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. We call for urgent help. The ministers, the foreign ministers who were there in Bahrain yesterday should call for help for people, not to support the government who is killing their people. It's very hard to describe the situation. I mean, it's awful.
The words there of a doctor at Sulmania Hospital in Manama. I think the tone there, not just what he's saying, but how he's saying it, really painting a picture of the situation in the country. Well, meanwhile, the country's crown prince has appeared on state TV calling for calm in the Gulf state. He's been asked to begin a national dialogue with, quote, all parties to resolve the crisis.
I say calm down to the person who throws stones and to the person who shoots bullets. This doesn't serve anybody.
Do you want to withdraw the security forces from the street?
We are talking, the security forces, we are talking about controlling the situation. We cannot really do impulsive decision at this moment.
The Crown Prince of the island kingdom there. Well, our special correspondent is monitoring the situation within Bahrain and gave us this update. For security reasons, we're not going to name him.
The demonstrators are also at the hospital. That is the only place that you'll find demonstrators right now, but there still are thousands there at the front of the hospital concourse. For the rest of Bahrain at the moment, tents, the security forces are still on the streets, the army are on the streets, as are the riot police, who you can see as you drive around, as I did a short time ago, driving around the city. The protesters say that they'll be staying at the hospital for the time being, although some of them have said to me that they would consider a possible another march towards the Pearl Roundabout. Others, though, say that is highly unlikely given what has happened and the fact that we've had these injuries and we may well have some more deaths.
Our correspondent in Bahrain there, so obviously a volatile situation then. There's been more violence in Libya as well. Police crackdowns have left at least 20 people dead in the east of the country. Hazem Sika reports on the unrest in Libya's second largest city, Benghazi. A quick warning, you might find some of the images in this report disturbing.
A defiant show of support for Libya's strongman. State TV shows Muammar Gaddafi with cheering crowds in Tripoli rallying behind the man who's ruled them for 4 decades. It's in the face of widening protests that may be the most serious challenge yet to his regime. Inspired by events in Tunisia and Egypt, the biggest demonstrations have been taking place in the country's second biggest city, Benghazi. A number of videos posted on YouTube, but which we cannot independently verify, appear to show the violent response from security forces. Gunshots